If there's one issue that's on everybody's mind in terms of disease, it's been tar spot the last few years. And so, my background is actually pathology, and so I've kind of stayed on top of tar spot. And so I think the best recommendation is, understand how this disease works, its background, the conditions that maybe this pathogen is a little bit more conducive to spread. And so I always like to tell growers, do the shoe test. There's a lot of questions about when can I expect tar spot? How do I know if the environmental conditions are conducive for tar spot to spread? And I say go out and do the shoe test. If you can walk through your yard in the morning and you have wet feet, that's probably enough time in hours of leaf wetness for that disease, for that pathogen to spread. And so, I think just understanding those conditions and knowing when the conditions are conducive will help you make that management decision of whether or not you need to and when you need to spray a fungicide. And so, having the option to have Delaro Complete or Delaro in our portfolio, which shows extremely good efficacy on tar spot, is a huge advantage for Bayer. I think historically growers are just so used to that tassel application of a fungicide. And if we're targeting tar spot specifically, there's data to show that a tassel application is still a really good ROI. But I like to hone in and get a little bit more detailed to make that fungicide residual work a little bit harder and longer for us. Because we know tar spot moves in typically later. If we have conditions that are conducive for tar spot to spread, it can come in pretty early. But if you look historically, it likes to come in during the middle to late reproductive stages. And so if we go out and make that fungicide application too early, that whole tail side, the whole backside of the reproductive stages is going to be left, in a situation where it might potentially get hit by tar spot. And so when I say let Mother Nature dictate when we're going to make that application, I really like to, not focus on that tassel application. Let Mother Nature dictate when we're going to make the application. And what I mean by that is if we're really dry at tassel, you can probably hold off and delay that application until about R2. Again, knowing that tar spot typically likes to come in later. And so I think by doing that, we can ensure that residual of that fungicide that we apply is going to be effective when tar spot typically likes to come in. And so again, just understanding those environmental conditions when it likes to grow and spread really helps make those applications of a fungicide that much more effective. I'm still kind of in the camp of typically one application is going to be the best ROI. Again, when we're making a fungicide application, we got to look at ROI, right? It's not just make the application to control the disease. And so that's why one application well-timed is going to be extremely effective compared to just two applications at a specific time. But there is data, out of Purdue, I've seen Michigan State, but Purdue specifically, where in certain years, if conditions, continues to rain, we continue to have high humidity or moisture on the leaves, sometimes two applications does pay. But overall, I'd say just one well-timed application at either tassel or letting Mother Nature dictate when that one application is going to be made is still the best ROI. When tar spot first showed up in Iowa in 2018, we definitely saw differences in the genetics. And so as, like for example, us at Bayer, as we continue to look for those genetic lines that are less susceptible, we'll say, because right now there's no true resistance, but there's definitely reduced susceptibility. As we continue to release products and look for products that are less susceptible to tar spot, we do see big differences in the susceptibility or just reduced susceptibility within those genetics and hybrids.